lies. You are listening to the John H. Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the anomic age. And I am your host, John H. Happy to be back with you once again in the dark side of the AM. Darn close to it anyway. We're sitting at 11:49 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for tuning in. Can't thank you enough. Check out anomicage.com if you've not already done so. Please like all the likes. Subscribe to all the subscriptions. The brand new page. It's about a week into the brand new, I guess, at this juncture. I'm still not altogether settled on it, but I'm saying it's about 95% up, running, and ready to roll right about now. Only thing, well, everything's functioning on there, and make no mistake about it. There's little things here, there, and everywhere I might just change a little bit. We'll just see. But nevertheless, that's the anomicage.com new homepage. Gives you all the goodies, the most recent episodes, the easy ways to subscribe, follow, Android app, iPhone app, so much more right there at anomicage.com. You can definitely sign up for the free newsletter. You can get those email links and updates and everything else right there at anomicage.com. So just do that. Do that. Whatever you happen to be listening to and or watching this on, make sure that you like all the likes, 5-star reviews, all that good stuff. But if I don't plug this enough, I don't plug this enough. So consider becoming a patron. You can do it for as little or as much as you want. As well, iPhone app, Android app, you got all that stuff for free. So it hurts you not a bit to become a patron. I think there's some people out there like $1 a month. So, I mean, literally, you can do as little or as much as you want to do. We've also got the PayPal donation buttons there. Satoshis, I think the Satoshis, I might have taken them off actually because they didn't seem to be very popular. But nevertheless, consider doing all that at anomicage.com. Up there in the top right now it's at the top left just because I kind of squished the screen a little bit for you. We've got all the social media links you could possibly stand. Finally got back on YouTube maybe about a year ago after they took my channel down. They didn't give me my channel back. They just allowed me to get a brand new spanking channel that nobody can see, I don't think. So lost all the viewers. So that's why it says like viewers like 10 or something right now. So feel free to follow me on YouTube if you want to, if you can. I don't even know who can even see that page. It's doubtful in my opinion. But we usually have the biggest following on Facebook and X, so check it out there. Brighteon, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey. Odyssey seems to be more popular across the pond, but feel free to follow me on Odyssey too. From everything that I can discern, they seem to be a lot like Brighteon. Definitely not into censorship, not really owned by the big tech conglomerates or those shadow corporations or even perhaps the NGOs. So check out the Odyssey link as well. I like that platform quite a bit. Solid. Always there, never down. Got no problems from Odyssey. So check it out there as well if you want to. So the big stuff that we got to talk about this evening, full disclosure, it's just hard to come out here and do a show that just covers the B to the S, even twice a week. I don't know how people get up here and do it like every single day. I would just be like suicidal or homicidal if I was doing that, but I'm not. So the obvious stuff we're going to get into this evening, we're going to get into the groupthink a little bit. I mean, we've covered that. If you're a long-time listener to the Anomic Age, you know I've covered groupthink ad nauseum. We'll cover the cognitive dissonance and the normalcy bias as well, because there's a lot of things, psychologically speaking, that I do believe vex the American people. But I don't know, if I was pulling a highlight reel out of my hat, that might be the top 3. So we'll absolutely get into that. But I'm going to cover the news kind of first off today. Really just to kind of get it out of the way. Some of this news is a couple days old, so if it's old news to you, I don't care. I'm going to cover it anyway because I think it's pertinent, relevant, and downright necessary. So that's what we're going to cover to start things off, to kick things off is the news. Maybe a little bit of an abridged version. I'm going to cover maybe like 30 minutes, 45, the absolute most. And then we're going to delve into the psychology of exactly what the title of this episode suggests. In case you missed it, surviving the mental gymnastics. That's really what this is all about, folks. It's surviving the mental gymnastics. Because it is downright hysterical that anybody in their right mind is still, to parlay a little Manfred Mann Earth band, they're still blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another loner in the night. I just can't imagine how anybody with the least mental faculty could still be blinded by the light, could still be buying into the nonsense, could still be actually believing the hype, folks. I'm not exaggerating. There's still people that are in that camp. It's unflipping fathomable, but it's true. So, my goodness gracious sakes alive. I don't even know how to talk about this stuff without being insulting and mean-spirited and just downright evil, maybe. But I'm going to try. So, the latter half of the show, we're going to cover that. Surviving the mental gymnastics. Shout out to some old school Mary Lou Retton. I think this is a la 1984. No pun intended, actually. Surprisingly, not a pun intended. So as I was a little lad, Mary Lou Retton was definitely on the Wheaties box. She was like everybody's Americana cup of tea, for that early 80s, after the hockey win over the USSR. I'd say the next big thing was Mary Lou Retton, without a doubt, as far as that sort of early 80s goes. We ain't even into the mid yet, but the early 80s, you gotta say, hockey win, Mary Lou Retton, Mary Lou racist, man. Popular culture was just a buzz with those two things. But can't really talk about hockey in the grand scheme of mental gymnastics, so I kind of parlayed a little MLR into this mental gymnastics sphere. So that's what's up, man. We're going to talk about that in the sort of second stages of this whole thing. But to kick things off, let's do what we do. We'll talk about some news. And it's downright depressing news, folks. I'll try to hold my cards a little close to the vest and really talk about the psychological aspects of the second half, and we'll just kind of roar through the media blitz. Shout out to the Germs and Dobby Crash of the Germs. My very favorite Germ song, Media Blitz. But anyway, we'll go right headlong into it if we can, if we shall, if we may. This is something that even the most ardent DJT supporters should have had that proverbial record scratch moment. The room falls silent, and everybody just goes, what? What the? Yeah. Here we go. Let's listen to the man himself talk about it. I'm going to shut up, and we'll just roll with it. Here we go.
Many countries opened up their prisons and dropped them into the United States. Those are the people who are getting out. And we have a lot of heart. They said, you got to lighten up on this. We have a lot of heart for people. They came in illegally, but they're good people, and they're working now on farms, and they're working in luncheonettes and hotels and all. And we're looking to get the criminals out right now, the criminals.
Hold the phone, folks. Ho, 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 ho. Time out. What the fleep? So my man just got on there and said, hey, we're trying to get the criminals, the real criminals. He's out there basically saying ICE is going too hard at this the thing you campaigned on, DJT. Remember the campaign promises and that stupid bull butter, promises made, promises kept, horse feathers. Horse feathers, folks. He's now on press conference, at one time live TV, this is several days old, live TV saying, it ain't really about all those illegals, it's just the criminals. And I'm thinking, oxymoron of oxymorons? What? If you came here illegally, you are a flipping criminal. We're just going after those criminals. They opened the borders and they let in the prisoners and they were rapists and murderers and killers and MS-13. Okay. Nice. But guess what, DJT? Yeah, they're all criminals if they came here without the proper visas, without the proper citizenship. I mean, I realize that means nothing to DJT because, he's all for letting everyone in with the work visas from India and Pakistan and everywhere else near Middle East, because after all, DJT basically, he legitimately, literally almost, I hate people that say literally, he literally said, we don't have people in America that can do these tasks. You're all a bunch of morons. But guess what? We can roll in some Pakistanis, some Indians, maybe even some Israelis. They can do all this stuff. Not los americanos. Estos son idiotas. So, yeah. Once again, it's a humiliation ritual. Once again, it's rubbing your nose in the brown stuff. That's what's going on, folks. I mean, he came out and said, we're going to have these, what the flip is their designation? I always forget this, visa, work visa. I can't remember what these stupid things are called. B1, temporary, I believe this is the one, the B1 visa. I can never remember what these idiotic things are called because H1B. Thank you, Internet of Internets. H1B visas. So yeah, he already came out a couple months back and said, idiot Americans, you can't do the same stuff as these fine, upstanding people in these other third world bleepos. Of course. We need the H1B visas. You just can't do it. You just can't cut the mustard. And now he's coming out and saying, ice, roll it back in, man. Just cool out, bro. Know your role, and we're only going after a certain type of criminal, not all criminals, man. Man, this stuff is nauseating, isn't it? Should be nauseating. But don't worry, there's someone listening to this right now that is aghast. That they're aghast that I am daring to ever mention follies of DJT. It's okay, folks. It's okay. I'm still going to do it, but I mean, it's okay that you don't like that. It's fine. All right, so let's see. There we go. I knew we could pull that one off. Oh, my gracious goodness. So we got that one. Let's roll into some other goodies, huh? Here's one of my other favorites. This one's from a couple of days ago, too, but it's downright hysterical, hilarious, and otherwise at the least bit humorous. This one was, I believe this was last week, but I thought it well worth covering again because it's just downright hilarious. Here's the, and I'm trying to be nice and keep the show clean, but I swear it's hard. The more I talk, the worse it becomes as far as keeping the show clean. But here's the, here's the circle of, I suppose we're supposed to believe this is Christianity. This is the Christendom that we're supposed to fall for, believe in, and just, and choke down. That's all aflush in the White House. This is it, folks. This was last week. And this is DJT in his big circle of supposed Christians. And everybody's touching the idol. And I swear, I'm sorry if you're just that dim-witted to not see this. I mean, discernment, even just a little bit of discernment, just like a tad. Just even if you're not a Christian, even if you're like a tree worshiper or something. If you're a tree worshiper and you see this, you got to feel the phony on this. I mean, I swear, man. I know I've mentioned this before from the formerly great state of North Carolina here. I know a little bit about the fraudulent Christendom, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, just to say a little. I mean, Heritage USA and Bible Land. I mean, if you don't know anything about that, I suggest watching Fletch 2. I think it's called Fletch Lives or something. It's a pretty good Chevy Chase movie. And it's pretty much just like a ripoff of Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. It's so hilarious. But if you're a tree worshiper, you got to see this and go like, man, this is some fake B to the S, folks. This is some straight up horse manure. This is hysterical. This is comedy at its finest. But the sad thing is, you got real deal Holyfield people like lapping this stuff up. And I hate all the idiotic buzzwords that I guess the influencers like to use. I hate them. They're just hilarious. And every time I hear it, I just sort of throw up. But, crash out was the big influencer word for a while. And anyway, this one's pretty darn hysterical, folks. You got to see that, right? I mean, I'm hoping you do. He's surrounded by these buffoons, minions, and frauds, and they're all touching him like he's a flippin' Blarney Stone, and we're doing some half-bleeped prayer vigil that we're praying for what exactly? I mean, they should be praying to stop fighting for Israel. That'd be my take on it. I'd be praying to stop getting screwed by Israel, to stop having the multinational corporations that are all run by the, controlling all three branches of government. That would be pretty rad, wouldn't it? I mean, just throwing a few things out there. And in this lovely individual in red, I got to pull up who she is because I didn't play the video of her, quote unquote, speaking in tongues, which is hysterical. But this is that chick. That chick is Paula White Kane. You got to love the hyphenated names. I do anyway. So Paula White Kane. This is the chick in red here. She looks like the final boss of the Karens. If you're playing like Street Fighter in the arcade in the like 80s or something, it's like the final boss. This is like Karen extraordinaire. So this Paulina White Kane chick, you can see these videos all over social media. I just didn't want to do it because I don't. It's hard to not just become a complete comedy show. But this is the same chick that was allegedly speaking in tongues at some event. And she's doing this rudda putta cutta nudda blah. She's doing this hysterical bit that I swear to you, it sounds like she's plagiarizing Beavis and Butthead from like 1997 or something. Because Beavis and Butthead had a great episode where they were in Spanish class, and the teacher's like, "Como es Juan?" And Beavis or Butthead, I can't remember which, they start going, "Rudda cutta nudda blah blah blah, Taco Supreme." That's pretty much what old Paulina Kane White was doing at this alleged speaking in tongues ritual. So that's her, and that's the spiritual advisor for DJT. That's the spiritual advisor. You can't make this up. The rudda cutta tutta blah, the chick ripping off Beavis and Butthead, speaking in tongues, saying all this hilarious nonsense. That's the spiritual advisor for the commander in chief. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Somebody's tapping they're just losing it. That's the leader of the free world spiritual advisor. The rudda cutta tutta blah blah blah. That's the one. The Karen Super Balls from Street Fighter. That's it. So if you're not seeing the hilarity in this, that's fine. There's plenty of other shows that just lap up this stuff. The slop. That's the other hilarious buzzword from all the influencers. It was crashing out, and now it's slop. It's boomer slop at that. Oh my. I flippin' hate these words. They're so stupid. But I mean, that's the sort of, it's the sort of ilk from most of the influencers. Which we pretty much, you should at least know now, are vastly just paid operatives. Like, people thought the church committee hearings in like 1973 revealing that all media was propaganda, they thought that was just sort of like a flash in the pan that just ceased. No, it didn't. And then they had like selective amnesia and forgot that Barry Soetoro signed and legalized propagandizing the American people right before he left office. Yeah. As if they needed permission, folks. Come on. It's all just smoke and mirrors. It's all just hilarious. It's hilarious just like chumping the American people. That, like, every day of life in America is like one huge humiliation ritual after the other. It's downright funny, I tell you. But the thing is, in order to be the biggest chump sucker moron and fall for it all, you actually have to fall for it all. Like, if you actually have like enough discernment, or even like the mental faculties of a newt or something, and can figure this out, you're like, oh, well, this is all bull jive. Like, this is some more horse pucky. This is a joke. It's like on candid camera, you know, from the 70s and 80s. Or to be cool and hip, I guess it would be if you were on Punk'd with the like the murderer, child molester dude, Ashton Kutcher from the 2000s or whatever. Anyway, allegedly, of course. I mean, we don't know. Could be a great guy. But we got more to talk about, because the funny just don't stop. I mean, this is why comedies aren't funny anymore when you go to the movies. I mean, aside from being DEI, slop, the comedies are just bull jive. But the other reason the comedies are not funny anymore is because normal life is just so fouled up. The same reason horror movies aren't scary and nobody even cares anymore. They're all remakes, number one. And like normal life is just like a flippin' Exorcist vignette. I was going somewhere in traffic the other day, and some spooky creature like crossed in front of us that could have 8 days a week, twice on Sunday, been an extra in any zombie movie ever. You know, ever. Not joking, man. George Romero would have been like, dude, that chick, get her in this movie right now. No makeup needed. We'll save money. You know, somewhere in Pennsylvania, we'll put this chick and we'll make like Dawn of the Dead 75 or whatever. Anyway, we got to talk about the more hilarious. Check this one out. This is awesome. From The Guardian. Trump names Erica Kirk to key advisory board of U.S. Air Force Academy. Whoa. Man, you could go so far down the rabbit hole with Erica Kirk. I mean, I've covered Erica Kirk, in my humble opinion, too blipping much. There's so much more to cover, but I'll leave that to Candace. I mean, it's so nauseating, this one. I thought this was a straight up joke for like 2 days. I mean, I saw this for 2 days all over social media, and I legit thought this was like an Onion thing. I thought the Weekly World News had come back into circulation and somebody had thrown, you know, The Guardian at the masthead of it. And then finally I looked into it because I was like, man, this is a flippin' hilarious, you know, comedy bit. But I keep seeing this all over. I'm going to look into it. You know, I looked into it, and it's real. You can't make this bull job up, man. It's real. Trump did, I guess. I hope it's a joke. I mean, feel free to throw me a comment down there and tell me this is some bull butter. And sure, I guess. But as of right now, Trump really did name Eric Kirk as an advisory committee member to the U.S. Air Force Academy. My gracious goodness sakes alive. This is hysterical. You can't not laugh at this. You can't. I mean, it's just too funny. Oh my gracious goodness. This would be like putting the My Pillow guy in charge of some sort of like Navy advisory committee, you know? And I'm not saying that My Pillow guy's a bad dude. He probably knows as much about the Navy as Erica knows about the Air Force. So, I mean, might as well. I'm gonna try to see. I'm gonna write my congressman. You know, like the flipping morons. Just write your congressman. Do some voting. I'm gonna write my congressman and do some voting, and see if I can get the My Pillow guy in some sort of lovely advisory committee of the Navy. Might as well. He seems like a nice dude. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's like that part Tommy boy. He seems like a nice guy. Yeah, the My Pillow dude seems like a nice guy. Maybe. Can't be any worse than Erica, right? And I thought this was some bull jive too. I thought this was another joke. I'm for real. Like several days of the news feeds. And swear to. Oh my goodness. Several days of the news feeds, and I thought this has to be a joke, right? Because I kept seeing these images of Ben Shapiro with these absurd looking eyebrows. And I was like, why do people keep photoshopping these retarded eyebrows on Ben Shapiro? Like, what's the shtick on this D-bag, you know? And I finally looked into it, and apparently he really does have these absurdly big flipping eyebrows right now. And I immediately went, okay, like, here we are again, humiliation ritual number 5,000 of the day, you know. And I just thought this was, I had to show you this picture because it was just too funny. It has Rowdy Roddy Piper from They Live. And I can't remember that Muppet's name, the cat at the bottom. Looks like an eagle or something with some freaky eyebrows. Anyway, allegedly, I mean, from everything I've been able to discern, Ben Shapiro's got some freaky big blipping eyebrows all of a sudden. I don't know why in the flip he would do this, except just to rub everybody's nose in the brown stuff that, like, the guy is so stupid. I put these prosthetic eyebrows on and they all thought it was funny. You know, I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. It's hysterical, Ben. I mean, I don't know what you're doing, but it's pretty doggone funny, Ben. I guess so, buddy. Whew. But wait, there's more, because this one was pretty rad. An asteroid the size of a small town is headed straight towards India. Okay. Oh, my goodness. I can only hope that it doesn't really hit I hope it hits, you know, a vast majority of the whole planet. If it does hit India, I hope that it definitely takes out. I hope it's one of those extinction events. I hope it's on par with the Younger Dryas or whatever that don't say it, John. Horse stuff they're saying took out the dinosaurs. You know, if you're believing that horse feces. I hope it's far bigger than that. I hope it's something that really takes us all out. That's what I'm hoping for. Please. Please let this be the big one, Elizabeth. Let this be the big one. Let this be the cataclysmic changer of all changers. Bigger than the dinosaur one. Bigger than the Younger Dryas. Lord, bring it. Please. We can only hope, huh? We can only hope. All right, this one's good. Not good, actually. It's pretty sad. Let's see what we got here. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I've heard about 3 different stories for this one. This one's NavyTimes.com. Onboard fire extinguished on aircraft carrier in Red Sea. Navy says. This is from the USS Gerald R. Ford, if you want to get all full on about it. So anyway, I've heard 3 different tales on this jive. I've heard it was like a fire. I've heard it was a problem with the sewer on the flipping aircraft carrier. The world will never know. That's all I can tell you, man. All I know is apparently the Gerald Ford, allegedly they're still heading to the scene of the crime. You know, they're going to back up all the terrorist buddies just bombing the bleep out of Iran. But so that's cool. I'll talk about it. Well, forget it. I'm going to talk about this one now. What the flip is up with always, and I guess I get it because all politicians are most likely reptilian, but all politicians are definitely criminal pedophile scum. So if you want to look into the connections with old Gerald Ford and the JFK thing and how he really like slid into that little I'm gonna be pres for a couple months kind of deal, you probably should. But yeah, Gerald Ford's not just some like hapless. I think history likes to paint him along the lines of like Dan Quayle or something. But nah, he was a scumbag piece of human feces. But everybody wants to talk. He was a football. He played football on the football, and yeah, that was his big shtick. Like that's the normie vibe, man. That everybody wants to talk about. Gerald Ford. He played football and he played football. Yeah, he was Anyway, bottom line is, I was just wondering, like, why the flip do we keep naming aircraft carriers after just criminal trash? Just wondering. I mean, I guess they have to name after somebody, so why don't they have like the SS Al Capone or something? Wouldn't I mean, might as well. I can't wait for the USS Bill Clinton. Good. Oh man, it was a joke coming, but I shan't make it. Maybe he should have a submarine. Let's move on. I ain't gonna go there. I'm gonna keep it clean, folks. Here we go. From the Ron Paul Institute, ronpaulinstitute.com. This one should interest everyone, but I'm sure it shall interest virtually no one because everyone seems to just go along, get along, and eat their cake and watch their bread and circuses and what's the game this weekend? As Iran war escalates, Congress passes automatic, what? Involuntary draft registration. The Ron Paul Institute for Peace and Prosperity. That was March 11th, 2026. This often happens. The NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. Sounds like that piece of flotsam that was passed, after the false flag of 9/11. They just took all your rights away. Yeah. Contains some of the worst language of all legislations. This year is no different, with language slipping into the bill that automatically and involuntarily registers young men. What about the ladies? For the military draft, with the war in Iran escalating and talks of troops needed. You got to have your blood sacrificed for the little hat people. You just do, folks. I don't know why you're against it. Jump in the wood chipper. Jump in line. I mean, it'll be Vietnam 2.0, but you got to do it, man, or you're not a real Christian, bro. After all, the Bible says, man, you just better do everything for Israel or you're not a real Christian, man. So, I don't know what all the hubbub's about, bub. I mean, after all, you want to sacrifice your kids to these folks, right? That's what everybody wants to do. And this was the most funny bull jive from last week. I saw tons of posts of this that was like, it doesn't matter if you support or you don't support. We're in the war now, and you just better buckle up and just get behind America. And good morning, America. How are you? Everybody started doing this bull jive. It was post 9/11 world all over again. And everybody became the most patriotic slums in the world and just kissing the rear of everything near to just get behind America's terroristic scheme to take some more land for Israel. I mean, it's insane. But this is the kind of bull jive that was out like a week ago. It was like, how dare you not support our military? How dare you not support America? Hey, how dare you just stop supporting the blood sacrifice that is apparently perpetually needed for our greatest allies across the sea in a little tiny bleep hole about the size of New Hampshire. What's the deal, folks? Nobody's connecting the dots. Everybody's just freedom fries and American flags and apple pie and flipping fireworks all of a sudden. I mean, it's just... But wait, there's more, because we got to talk some more, right? Let's roll. Was this not the daggone one? I swear, I had another one. There it is. Maybe this is the one. No, it's not. Heavens to Betsy, what the? All right, let me pull the screen because I'm getting ticked off here. I swear, I had a misplace of the dang slides. I had 2 for the daggum Gerald Ford. What the? Good grief! This just makes me so sad. I feel like crying. Anyway, I don't have a slide for this, but who the flip cares? I don't need one. It was another scumbag president. The Abraham Lincoln. Oh, I'm not pulling the slides on this. Abraham Lincoln, USS Abraham Lincoln. Remember that one? For like a week now, we've been hearing this bull jive that the Abraham Lincoln was on the way to sinking. And it was a false flag. It wasn't real. Everything was great. They were just doing wonderful. And now it's finally come to the, I guess, forefront of the mainstream media that it's okay to say this. Allegedly, the Abraham Lincoln has sustained some pretty massive damages, and it's on its way back to Los Estados Unidos. So, just so you know, that's the final word we've got on the USS Abraham Lincoln. And you guessed it, Lincoln was a stinking. He was another floor-flushing piece of trash that took a bunch of rights under the guise of civil war. We got to preserve the Union. Yeah. Anyway, so the Abraham Lincoln is hopefully not sinking. But I guess it's going back to port somewhere on the East Coast, folks. That's all I know. This is all alleged. I mean, heavens to Betsy, they told us it was all fine a week ago in the midst of this media blitz that it was all bad. So who the flip really knows? Who knows? I guess we'll see. Maybe when it pulls into port somewhere in Norfolk or something. I don't know. Anyway, but wait, there's more. MilitaryTimes.com. We got to cover this one. 4 Cuatros. Army drones. System stolen from Kentucky base. Yeah. So Fort Campbell in Kentucky has apparently just lost some drones. I mean, it's easy to lose drones, like losing your keys or your cell phone. I don't know where they are. It's crazy. Somebody just walked out of here with some drones. Oh, my goodness, folks. Oh, my goodness. I mean, keep in mind, this is allegedly a military base. Allegedly has pretty good security. Allegedly has some drones. Allegedly, we're in the midst of some more bull and jive conflict orchestrated by our allies and sold to the American morons by DJT. All that's allegedly, and apparently we just got your drones missing. Yeah, you gotta laugh, I tell you. You gotta laugh, I guess. All this should be a pretty obvious pretext to some false flags. I mean, I cover this like every show, so it's not breaking news. And this isn't me like prognosticating something big is on the horizon. I mean, it should be fairly obvious, again, to people that have got their head on this side of the dirt and can breathe and function and maybe count to 10, that the false flags are pretty imminent. I mean, we've already seen, what is it today? We had some bull jive shooting, of course, and some other horse pucky at some sort of synagogue in Minnesota or some horse feces like that, you know? Come on, folks. I mean, they're setting the table for you to fall for some bull jive, right? You should know that, right? Because for some reason, the mainstream, to a small degree, and the paid for alternative media, excuse me, it's like covering the greatest allies screwing us over pretty good in the last few months. But they're doing that to like set the table for the brain dead, because the brain dead are going, oh my goodness, it's Israel. Israel's actually screwing us. And that's going to set the table for them to do these orchestrated false flags or just straight up fake events a la Sandy Hook. And then they'll blame a patsy. You know the routine. I mean, you should know the routine. You just saw it with the Charlie Kirk bull butter. You saw it with the alleged shooting of Trump's ear. You saw it with every single false flag you've seen in the last like 60 years, basically. So they're setting the table. They've given you the bad guy. It's a Hegelian dialectic. It's the bad guy. It's Israel. Okay. The slaves are going, oh, it's bad, Israel. And then they're going to create a crisis Hegelian dialectic again, problem, reaction, solution. And then they're going to offer the solution, which is going to be more censorship, more people going to jail for criticizing the greatest allies and the whole 9 yards. So, I mean, it's Hegelian dialectic. It's basically the impetus of Marxism, proletariat, bourgeoisie, good, bad, binomial, binary opposition, excuse me. So it's the Marx and Engels binary opposition, which is the same thing I've talked about with Claude Levi-Strauss, binary opposition. And if you go way back, I know I mentioned this on the last episode, we talked about the Prince, the book, The Prince. And it was all about the same sort of thing, the Machiavellianism of just shadowed hands, the good side and the bad. So they're telling you who the bad guy is. They're going to run ops to basically demonize patriots, a la early 90s again, because they're going to run ops that is going to target greatest ally members. And they'll all shriek and cling to pearls or whatever. And then they'll have the narrative frame like, ooh, bad guy, Ruby Ridge, Oklahoma City, 2.0 kind of bull job. So that's what's coming. So, I mean, that's why the drones are missing. That's why you're having these really kind of like just wetting your whistle, kind of like warming things up. You're taking you're doing some stretches, shooting some free throws, doing some layups. Like, okay, the game's about to start. Yeah, we're going at it. We're just going to give you a little bull job to kind of wet your whistle, and then we'll give you a whole lot of bull job. And then we'll roll out the solution. It's cool, more censorship, more demonization. You can't say this word. It's akin to the N-word. Oh. That's the sort of stuff that's coming. Okay? So keep falling for it. It'll be great. Moving on. We got to talk about this one a little bit. In case you can't see it, my goodness, let's zoom in. Okie dokie. So we have a Stratotanker refueling aircraft has crashed in western Iraq with rescue operations underway. And everything I've read on this is basically assuming that all members of this aircraft are deceased. Not really the sort of plane you can just pull the ripcord on, like a fighter jet, and like pull the ripcord and just parachute to perceived safety or parachute into a POW camp or whatever. So we got a refueling aircraft gone down. We've got the Abraham Lincoln headed back to port, sustained some major damages. What else have we possibly got that could be just that blipping stupid? I thought this was kind of an interesting little parlay to go down. I haven't really looked into this 110%, but I'll talk a little bit about it. This is from the U.S. Central Command. This is their Twitter, or X if you want to sound hip and cool, because I know you do. You want to say boomers and you want to say crash out and cool lingo like that, because that's what the cool kids do, and that's what you want to do. This is from U.S. Central Command, and you can watch the video here. This image right here shows up at about the 17-second mark, in case you're wondering. I don't know if we can go bigger on that. But it's this lovely little ghost emblem. The lovely little ghost emblem from the 4th Psychological Operations Group. Yeah, you guessed it. In North Carolina. Yep, they're up there at Fayetteville. Anyway, so that's their logo, and this is apparently on a Navy ship that is also being viewed in this lovely video. Right about here at the bottom. I'm not going to give you the audio because it's just not even worth it. But anyway, it's a lovely propaganda piece from those great guys at U.S. Central Command. Let's see if we can stop it right here. There it is. So there's the actual image right there in the video at the 17-second mark. And up here is the still of that. So anyway, just kind of giving you a little psychological operations 4th group in your U.S. Central Command propaganda piece. So, as Arsenio Hall would have once said, things that make you go, It's like it's all some big psyop, huh, John? You think it's all some big psyop? I think we should all think it's a big psyop. And what better people to run a big psyop than the 4th Psychological Operations Group from Fort Bragg. I mean, that's what they do. They're professionals at running psychological operations to manipulate, control, and win hearts and minds in other countries across the land. But somehow, the American people think they'd never do that here. They'd never test on American citizens unbeknownst to them, like the Tuskegee experiments. No. They'd never test on other U.S. territories when you had like the Clintons come out about 15 years ago and say, oh, sorry, we did a lot of testing, in Central America on unwitting citizens. Our bad. It's not as if they haven't run these operations in San Francisco and St. Louis. It's not as if they had run their own LSD experiments in the late 1950s on the CIA and FBI. I mean, there's famous cases of this. You can look it up for yourself. But of course, they wouldn't do that now. They would not run psyops now on the American people. No, never. Just like they quit propagandizing after it was revealed in the church committee hearings, right? Just like they didn't ship narcotics and hallucinogenics all over college campuses in the 1960s. Electric Kool-Aid acid test, anyone? I mean, for heaven's sakes, they were giving it away to start the cultural revolution of the 1960s, with the Tavistock Institute running the across the pond version and Lookout Mountain Laboratories running the West Coast version. I mean, come on, folks. Come on. You got to realize this eventually, right? I mean, we've covered it a lot. And this isn't new. This is old. But anyway, so that's where we're at with this whole thing, which brings us to the real, surviving the mental gymnastics. Because really, man, it's hard to be kind in times like this, because the division is so rife. We're rife with division. We're more divided than ever. I don't think we've ever been this divided as a people. And the only reason that we haven't had a civil war, and we will not have any sort of, we will not have any storming the Bastille kind of event here in America, is because we're too weak as a people. I mean, that's just obvious, right? So that ain't going to happen. 1776 ain't going to happen. Civil War ain't going to happen. Any kind of, whoever think we're going to get them when they get to, no. The flip we are. We're not. I'm sorry. It ain't happening. It's not. People are too fat and happy. People are too addicted to devices. People are too addicted to French fries, for heaven's sakes. It ain't happening, folks. If people thought about that, the government would just cut off the drugs and the liquor, and that would be the fold of the American people. Everybody would come out from under their rocks shaking, like the flipping drunk painter on a job site. And just give us our fix, man. Just one fix. That great Ministry song. That's really what's up. So it ain't happening. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. But the mental gymnastics is really crazy, and it has to do with the big three that I talked about: the groupthink, the normalcy bias, and the cognitive dissonance. So the groupthink kind of self-evident. And people don't like to get into this, I don't think, and they don't like to admit this. But people want to be part of a group, folks. Everybody seemingly wants to be part of the group. And you see this all the time. You see this in subtle ways, and I'm sure you've got the people with the prosthetic testes on their big diesel trucks. And like, well, I don't need nobody. I got my MREs and yeah, right, whatever. But as a rule, people want to be part of a group, folks. I mean, that's why sporting events are still somewhat successful, because you can easily divide the public into, we're for the Lakers or we're for the Celtics or, that sort of horse shit. So we can see that barely all the time. But I mean, you can distill it on down to people just want to be part of the group no matter what. I mean, I think that's why the church is even still a thing. I think the vast majority of the people can figure out that most churches are full of prunes, but they love the social angle. They love the like talking to people and getting together once a week and, hey, how you doing? Pray for Bob and, that sort of stuff. So the social angle really is what keeps everybody in line more than they want to admit. And it's groupthink, folks. Like the end result of wanting to be in a group is groupthink. So whether or not you're going to church every Sunday, whether or not you're going for the Raiders or the Patriots or whatever, even in the alt media, even in the we're awake to everything in Q and all that, I mean, it's all like people want to be in a group. I mean, that's why the Q psyop was so successful, because people love to pretend that they know everything and that you're not cool if you don't know this, you're not cool, man. And it's the same sort of like weird high school psychology of everything, really. I mean, I've often said, you might get out of high school, but high school just keeps on keeping on. Like, even though you're not in 12th grade anymore, like, you might as well be in the 51st grade, because it just continues, folks. Like, people still want to be in the know. People are like, oh, you don't know about this, I've had family members that I just quit even texting, because I would send them something, just lowbrow information. Oh, I heard about it. I already heard about it. I heard about it. Okay, I'm just telling you, I don't really give a flying fig whether you heard about it. I'm just, trying to help inform people, you know what I'm saying? But everybody wants to be first. I already heard about it. You don't tell me anything about this, And it's the same thing. I mean, I could draw tons of parallels to skateboarding and punk and hardcore and all that kind of scene, because, I mean, that's just another microcosm of everything else. But I'm sure it's the same in the metal scene. It's probably the same with hippie trash or whatever. Like, hey, you heard about this band? It's this cool band nobody's ever heard of. Like, they used to crack me up back in the day. Like, oh, I got this 7-inch of like this 5 pressings of this one record this guy made in his basement with like a flipping Teddy Ruxpin recorder or something, Everybody wants to like seemingly have something up on everyone else. And then you have people that want to be part of that group, so that they'll do whatever to stay part of that group, to get into that group, whatever the case may be. I mean, that's why gangs work, folks. I mean, that's why gangs even flipping happen. Because people want to be part of a group. People want to have some sort of family. Even if it's an extended family and their family sucks, they want to be part of something. I mean, that's part of human nature. People just want to be part of something, okay? So when you want to be part of something bad enough, you didn't have groupthink. Okay, this is my people. Hey, I'm starting to veer in a different direction. Maybe I disagree with them, X, Y, and Z. So people are going to say, okay, well, I better just roll with it, because I don't know, I kind of disagree, but let's just go with the Borg. Like the group consensus is, Erica Kirk's a great gal. So even though I think she's a somewhat questionable person, I'm going to go with the great gal because I want to stay in the group. It's affiliative behavior. I've covered this so many times in the past. So if you're new to this show, that'd be the Patriots prayer, people. I mean, I've covered this forever, but that's what's up, man. It's affiliative behavior. It's behavior that makes you part of the group. Primates do this by grooming. Like, that's their number one thing. So if you're part of the primate group, they'll groom you. Oh, look, you got a bug. In humans, we would want to go along to get along if we're a part of a group. So we have that affiliative behavior, which often manifests itself as groupthink. What else we got? Normalcy bias. The normalcy bias of it's always going to be just like it's always been. It's going to be great. Okay? So, I mean, most people, I'd say myself included, because I wasn't alive during Vietnam. Most people have normalcy bias. They think that, America is the shining city on the hill. We're very used to these quote unquote wars that last for a couple days. And then everybody comes home, a little parade. Hey, Gulf War, woo. I mean, that's what was up. I think I was in middle school or something. Gulf War I, Gulf War II, or whatever. And it's like, it was so bizarre to a little kid, but it was also like that's the norm that like a whole generation has been brought up and normalized into just like, okay, well, it's fun. It's somewhere else. It's never here. You're like whistling past the graveyard because you haven't tasted the real death or even know what that's about. And thankfully, we've never had any real legitimate attacks here in America. I mean, War of 1812, and that sort of thing, where the British keep coming back and like the revenge tour, and they burn down the White House. Yeah, okay, so we have, but I'd suppose not in modern era have we really had a real event. I guess you could say Pearl Harbor, even though that was clearly a false flag. And you could definitely say the false flag of 9/11, just hocus pocus of all hocus pocus. I'd say 9/11 now second only because of the COVID hoax. I mean, you could only edged out a little bit by the COVID hoax, just because it was just way more wizardry going on with the COVID hoax than 9/11. I mean, for Pete's sakes. But the COVID hoax is a great example of groupthink because you had morons wearing masks. You had morons following these retarded lines in supermarkets like flowers for Algernon. You had imbeciles, you're not wearing your mask, I'm going to arrest you. Like these insane Karens, like acting like Trump, I guess, like now, going after people and so forth. So that's another great example of groupthink. Last but certainly not least, we got cognitive dissonance. You can't come to grips with these two realities existing at the same time. So Trump's a hell of a guy, but also maybe a war criminal. I don't know. Bombing hospitals, bombing little children's homes all across this war-torn bleep hole in the Middle East. There's still a cavalcade of unanswered questions as to the Epstein list. There's this good old buddy there, Laughing Boy Lutnick, the living next door to Epstein, taking over his properties after he died, and now he's in the Trump regime, and anytime something is mentioned about the children, he just starts laughing like a flipping hyena over there. I mean, he's like a blame cartoon character, a Laughing Boy Lutnick over there, But you got the people that just cannot compute the two different realities existing as one. It's very much like the, I don't know, man. I kind of liken it to the computer in 2001 to 2000. It's like they're going to do anything to preserve the mission. You know what I'm saying? Like the regime leader is clearly not who he pretended to be. But like the true believers are just, we don't care. He's our guy. He's the best. We're in this unconstitutional war in the Middle East for no apparent reason, except for our greatest ally. We're going to support it. We're the best. It's these really bizarre cognitive dissonance. So those are the big three psychological snafus that people can't come to grips with. You saw probably a lot of the footage. I believe it was yesterday because that's when it was a buzz on social media that old DJT was at some big rally, I guess. I don't flipping care nor know. But it was the lot of awkward silence and crickets because he was up there saying, we've got great gas prices and great grocery prices. And that was kind of like the first thing, or I would say the first time that I would say maybe the cognitive dissonance is beginning to crack a little bit. Maybe. Because when he was saying these blatant, bold-faced lies, the audience was just kind of silent. There wasn't the usual, like, clapping seals at anything Trump does. It was kind of silent. And I think for the first time that I've seen it anyway, during the DJT regime take 3, or 2, I guess 2. First time I've seen legit people kind of breaking the cognitive dissonance, kind of going like, wait a minute, this guy's up here spinning us a yawn, and we're up here barely affording flipping gas. We're barely affording groceries. So the first time I've seen it, and I hope and pray that that is true, that we're going to see, the vast swaths of the American people go, holy cow, like this guy's up here bull jiving us. We're up here like struggling to eat. Good grief, man. So much more you could talk about. I mean, I could have pulled the whole Hexev thing, where I think this was about 2 days ago. Hexev, like millions of dollars on all this absurd food and crab and like just ridiculous mess from Pete Hegseth. Meanwhile, like the average American person's flipping rolling nickels over here to buy basic necessities, and our government's over there just burning pallets of money in essence. Well, pretty much are at this point in the game, because I mean you've seen the ridiculous prices of all these planes that have gone down, and these absurd bombs that we're dropping, like these whatever it is megaton bombs. I had them pulled up, I just didn't care. All over Iran. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, meanwhile, in Philadelphia, there's people, stuck on stupid, like crouched over for 6 hours on whatever ridiculous drugs they're on. Meanwhile, every city now has its own homeless camp. Meanwhile, the infrastructure is quite absmurfly crumbling around you. I mean, holes in the streets, holes in the bridges, holes on the train tracks, holes every blamewhere. But don't worry. It's money for thee, but not for me. It's always money for our greatest ally, but never money for the people of America. And I'm not one of these socialist boobs that just thinks everybody should get a flipping quality of life check or something, or everybody should get insurance and everyone should get health care from the government because we're just saps and deserve it, But I will say this. If we are going to urinate, defecate, and otherwise toss in the waste bin countless billions of dollars to our greatest ally, to the Ukraine, that's another one. What's up with the Ukraine, man? I haven't heard about the Ukraine in a couple months. They still over there? They're still over there at war with Russia? Is just some of this lovely fourth psychological operations group magic that we just haven't heard a peep about Ukraine here in about a month and a half? It's funny how that works, isn't it? Because that's all we could talk about, the Ukraine. Ukraine up your bleeping rear. And then all of a sudden, it's ice everywhere. Ooh, ice violence. Ooh, ice getting hurt. Ooh, ice hurting other people. And now it's all just ghosts in the wind. All we are is dust in the wind. It's all gone now because now we've got the newest weapon of mass distraction. Newest weapon of mass distraction, of course, has got to be Iran. Okie dokie, folks. I don't know. I think I'm going to do a whole show on just surviving the mental gymnastics. I probably should do a part 2 because we've covered the mental gymnastics. But we could do a whole show just on surviving the mental gymnastics. A shout out to Big Reed from Philadelphia, PA once again. But Big Reed always says this, or quite often anyway, and it's so spot on, folks. I'll give you sort of my spin on it anyway. Big Reed often says, it's participatory. That's my take. His words are a little different. I'm just saying it's participatory. Life is a participatory event. It is not a spectator sport, folks. So, the vast majority of what really affects you is based on you. It's participatory. So, I'm not suggesting that if we start having these asinine attacks over here run by our government, that we should not worry about it, that we should not perhaps even do something about it. What you want to do is up to you. I don't care. But what I am saying is that so much of this bull jive is participatory, folks. It's a straight participatory. So you can stop participating. Basically, cut off your device. Cut off your phone, cut off your pad, cut off your pod, cut it off. I'm talking about your appendages. I'm talking about your devices, all right? Get a hold of yourself. Don't go crazy. But it is participatory. And you got to stop participating in some of the bull job, man. That's why I take gaps in the show sometimes. People want to cry and moan, it's not a live show. Yeah, sometimes it's not a live show because it's my show and I do what I want to. It's just that simple, folks. But I take plenty of breaks when I need to and when I want to and when I can, because life is not a spectator sport. And I want to actually live my actual life most of the time. So your whole life should not be consuming information on the internet. Every day there's a new twist, a new turn, a new conspiracy. I mean, what is this new one? Is the King of the Jews book? Oh my! You know, and I looked into that and I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. But at a certain point, it's like, and then what? You know, like, what do you do with this information? Like I said, everybody wants to have like this one-upsmanship. Like, I'm smarter than this guy. I'm smarter than that guy. At the end of the day, who gives a fart, man? Who cares? Like, knowing more knowledge about these weird little esoteric events and these stupid conspiracies, at the end of the day, what is it all really for, you know? There was one of my favorite articles, an academic article. I'll give you the cleaned up version. But the title of it was, what is the God blame point in it all? I saw that article, decades ago. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I just love the title. The title alone was great. And the contents of the article wasn't too bad either. It was good stuff. It was basically saying what I just said. What's the blipping point of it? The article, the crux of it was people arguing about theory. I'm this sort of theorist. I'm that sort. Who cares? Who cares? But we're at the same stage now where popular culture is finally catching up to what a lot of people have been knowing for a long time. And now it's become this one-upsmanship nonsense. Now it's become this like hallowed halls of academia. I know more than you, so I get to look down my nose. And it's all just horse shit, man. It really is. Like, what does it really matter? What can you do with this nugget of information except lord it above somebody else and make them feel like dirt because they don't know this nugget of information? Like, who gives a flig? What are you doing with this nugget of information? Is the real question. Like, okay, now you know. You've gone down the King of the Jews rabbit hole. All right. Well, that's pretty flippin' weird. I mean, but there's so many of them like this, I mean, you could look into the connection between in the sport of baseball. I mean, all sports, has some like spooky, esoteric, Masonic connection. And you could look at the number of steps in D.C. where the new president takes his oath and exactly the time and all this, that, and the other. I mean, I did great shows with wonderful guests. About 4 years ago, we covered all that, and it was fascinating. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like, all right, that's pretty weird. At the end of the day, it's cool as long as you're not using this information to like stroke your own ego and feel extra special, because who cares? I mean, like I always say, there's always someone that knows more than you. Like there's a botanist right now in some sort of lab on some campus somewhere that knows far more about plants than you're ever going to know. Cool. Yeah, and likewise, there's some guy working in a garage right now that knows more about transmissions in a flipping 65 Chevy than I'll ever know. Cool. Like all this is all kind of relative, man. It really is all pretty flipping relative. You're never going to know it all. There's no point in lording your information over somebody else and trying to make them feel bad. Just try to do what you can as long as you can. It's all you can do, folks. It's all you can do. I'm not going to go all posi-core and, could probably get a little bit more posi-core. I love the work of David Paulides. I know I'm going over time. I don't care. I love the work of David Paulides, Missing 411. Amazing, amazing stuff. And I love his take on some things too, where his shtick for the last few years has been what he terms as the kindness revolution. And I gotta say, man, at some levels, I think that's kind of hokey and stupid. I'm not throwing barbs at you, David. Calm down. But I do think it's spot on most of the time. Like most of the time, I'm like, man, that's so real. That's what we need. You need to actually help people a little bit more than be a hindrance to people. And I think that lines up spot on biblically. You need to try to help people. That doesn't mean you show up at the street corner and just start handing out $100 bills to every bum within 5 yards of you. That's not what I'm saying. If you got that kind of loot, well, it's your money to lose, buddy. But what I am saying, and I think is kind of the overarching theme of this surviving the mental gymnastics thing, is just do what you can with what you got. And don't try to lord over your information like you're the flipping grand poobah of anything. like you're the wizard behind the curtain, you know? There's always some more information to learn. There's always somebody knowing more than you. And if we're really trying to help each other and help to fix this ever-loved fouled up system, it really doesn't do anyone any favors to sit here and thumb the nose at people. I'm thumbing my nose. It's kind of silly, isn't it? So it really does behoove us all just to try to be better people, try to help each other out a little bit. You don't have to go crazy posi-core. I'm saying, if there's somebody behind you, you can hold the door open for them. Be kind to people when you see them. I'm saying this to myself more than I'm saying to you, I promise you, because I tend to be a cold prickly in public because a lot of people are ghastly creatures. But I will go one step beyond and say, we can all do a little better, folks. Be a little nicer to each other. Smile at people sometimes. I tend to mean mug when I go out, and I've been doing a hell of a lot better lately just smiling. See somebody, give them a little nod, smile. How you doing? Doing good? Good. Doesn't hurt anybody. Nobody's going to stab you for that. Old lady behind you, try to help her in the car if she needs some help. Open the doors for people. Just do some kindness stuff. Because the way this whole thing is wired, the proletariat, the bourgeoisie, the prince, the Machiavellian sort of stuff, it's all predicated on the binomial nomenclature. It's the X's and the O's. It's basically your camp versus the other camp. And it's that way for a reason. Am I going to go, play in a drum circle with some hippie fruitcake and a Subaru that's smoking weed and drinking? No, that's weak trash. I'm never going to do that. But I can just say hi. I can do that. I can just say, hi there, dreaded man in a Subaru. How are you? Doing well, thanks. Keep it moving. So that's all I'm saying, folks. I'll dip into the kindness revolution of the great David Paulides. Feel free to check out his work. Amazing. Missing 411, the Can-Am Missing Project. I always do the wrong things for my own show. I plug other people's shows because I think what I find interesting is probably the same things other people find interesting. So, just thinking out loud here. All right, folks. Go to anomicage.com if you hadn't already done so. Like all the likes. Subscribe to all the subscriptions. It's a new page. Enjoy it. It's up there for you. Right there, looking like that. Anyway, be safe out there. Oh, my goodness gracious. We're up to Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th right now. Thank goodness. I love Friday the 13th. I'm going to be watching some horror movies tomorrow night. I might make it an all-day event. Happy Friday the 13th out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all ages, those of you who still identify as human. Happy Friday the 13th. Do something fun for yourself out there, man. Do something fun. If horror movies in your stick, whatever you want to do to enjoy and get away from this nonsense, as long as you ain't hurting somebody else. Do that. Why don't you? Because this bull jive's still going to be there. The news is not going to get anything but worse tomorrow. If you miss a couple days, it's no sweat off your brow, folks. It doesn't matter. You're not getting brownie points for scooping somebody on this horrible news. So somebody's got shot. Somebody's going down. We're killing somebody. Who cares, folks? Who cares? Do something fun. Get out there and have a nice time for the next couple days. Put all this bull jive behind you. All right, you can't do everything, but you can do something. Get out there, do your part, make a difference, and I'll be seeing you sooner than later, like 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday in the Anomic Age.
Thank you for listening to The Anomic Age, a John Age project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to anomicage.com. That's ANOMICAGE.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to The Anomic Age.
Thank you.